Hi guys, I'm back with another coaster video, and this time I promise we will be making both coasters. I know in my last video I started off saying that we were going to make two and only ended up making one, but this time I'm a bit more confident in what we're trying today, so let's get to it. So the thought for this video is I wanted to try making something with both UV resin and epoxy resin. I have here Tea Expert's UV and epoxy resins. They were kind enough to send it to me so I could try their products. And the plan is to create a simple design on the middle part of the molds here using UV resin, then cure that, and then once cured, we're going to use epoxy resin to trap that design, and hopefully we get some really cute results. So with it being Valentine's Day really soon, it's actually right around the corner, I've gone ahead and decided to go for reds and pinks. And the design we're going to do is polka dots. Now I know polka dots isn't really Valentine's Day-y, but it's the simplest design I could think of, especially since this is my first time and I didn't want to overcomplicate things. Okay, so the first thing I did was I mixed up my UV resin and the pigments. I did have to change the resin pigments I was planning to use because I never used those pigments before, so I didn't know that they didn't work with UV resin. As you guys can see, the red went a weird brownish color and it's nothing like the color that's inside the bottle. So this is your friendly reminder to test your pigments with UV resin first before you get into your project if you're going to be using UV resin. Not all resin pigments work with UV resin. I'm not exactly sure why, but it may have something to do with how fast UV resin gets hot when it's curing. Once the colors were mixed, it was time to create our polka dot pattern. By the way, how cute is this pink? I'm not a pink person at all, but I'm so happy with this shade of pink. It's the perfect shade of pink for Valentine's Day. Although I was pretty confident doing this project, this was the part that was making me a tad nervous. Making the polka dots perfect circles was going to be a mission, but hey, these are handmade, so perfection isn't required, right? So the plan was to make or pour the circles and then cure the resin. But I noticed that the resin was spreading, so before I made a mess, I decided to cure each circle one by one. Now I won't show you guys me making and curing each circle. It did take me a bit of time to do this, but I actually enjoyed the process. I'm not exactly sure how easily this could be done with epoxy resin. The great thing about UV resin is that you can cure it at an instant, so making the circles like this worked out really well. If you were to make this only with epoxy resin, it would probably be better to make the circles on their own, and then once they were cured, place them on your mold and go from there. Be sure to comment down below which resin do you mostly use. 99% of the time I use epoxy resin. I'm not really a huge fan of UV resin. I'm not exactly sure why, but I do have a few friends who only use UV resin and they get amazing results. I would love to know which you use the most. As always, remember when working with UV resin, use transparent molds and cure both sides of your project. I also highly suggest getting a strongish UV lamp. I'm using an 84 watt lamp, and ever since I bought this lamp, my UV resin cures perfectly and doesn't end up with that horrible sticky residue. Of course, your UV resin does matter. There are some UV resins that no matter what you do, it always ends up with that sticky residue, but I'm happy to say that this UV resin hasn't left any so far and has cured wonderfully. By the time I got to the round coasters, I was so confident that I started making little circles with the resin just falling off of my spoon. Or little spatula. I'm not exactly sure what you call this tool. And yeah, I'm really happy with the design I got. The possibilities are endless with this polka dot design. You can do any color scheme, and I hope you guys are feeling inspired to try this technique. Now it's time to make the border of our coasters, and I knew I wanted to make them super sparkly, so I mixed up my epoxy resin and only added glitter. I used some of the gorgeous glitters I got from Larissi, and I went to town adding all the glitter in the resin. If you guys were to do something similar to this project, I highly suggest you guys do this part first. You guys will see in just a moment why, but it did get a bit messy. Because I put so much glitter in the resin was pretty thick, and as I was pouring it into the lip of the molds, it came onto the middle part of the molds, and some did get onto the polka dots. But luckily it was an easy cleanup, and yeah, in the future I will be doing this part first, and lessons have been learned.
Hours later.
This part of the project is totally optional, but because there are a lot of edges that air bubbles can get trapped in the design, I went in with a clear layer of resin first before pouring the final white layer and used my silicone tool to make sure no air bubbles were around the circle edges. Okay guys, so the resin coasters are ready for the next step, and it will be our final layer. As you guys can hear, that clear layer has cured nice and hard, and I've gone ahead and pre-mixed the next layer of resin, which is gonna be white. And as I mentioned in a previous video, when dyeing resin white, I only use resin pigment paste now. It gives you such a wonderful pure color. There's none of that yellowish or grayish tint to it like when you use resin liquid pigments. And another great thing about the pigment paste is that you don't even need that much. This is quite possibly enough, and that's all I'm adding. So let's just shift this over here. And I'm also going to add some glitter, this white rainbow glitter from Resin. It's one of my favorites, and I honestly throw it in everything. No matter what color of resin I'm using, I just throw it in because it gives such a lovely sparkle to the resin. You guys see that? It's so pretty, and you can see the rainbow. There's greens and purples and blues, reds. And now all we have to do is mix up this resin, and then we can pour it in. By the way, does anyone else hate using these silicone cups? I know they're great because you can reuse them, but man, I really dislike them. I hate how squidgy they are, and you can't really get a good grip on them without contorting the cup. I normally just use the disposable cold cups from Tim Hortons or Starbucks, but unfortunately I didn't have any clean ones. They are reusable for resin, by the way. Any number 5 recyclable plastic containers don't fuse with resin, so you can use them over and over again. As you guys can see, that pigment paste gives such a pure white color, and there's no grayish or yellowish tint to the resin. Now all I have to do is cover these coasters with these food containers, and then I'll be back in the morning so we can demold them. Okay guys, it's now the next day, and I'm back to demold the coasters. As you guys can hear, they are nice and solid, so they're ready, and I'm going to give you a quick peek. And I just saw that too, and I'm really excited to see how they turned out. So let's get to it. Come on out. Look at how cute it turned out. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. Okay, now let's see this one. It turned out really good too. Look at that, you guys. These turned out so cute. And I'm so happy that I added that clear layer. It's made the polka dots look like they're floating, and that's such a cool effect. Now, if I had to choose which one was my favorite, I think I will be going with the circle one. I'm loving the pink glitter with that silvery sparkle to it. You guys can see that in my ring light. And I'm just so happy and so glad that these turned out really, really cute. Be sure to comment down below which one is your favorite. Do you like the circle one with the pink rim? Or do you like the... Oh, my brain is completely blanking on what shape this is. Or do you like this one? Do you like this one with the red rim? These coasters turned out really cute and better than I expected. At some point, I may add a clear coat just to seal in the polka dots just in case so they don't get damaged. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And also comment down below what you'll be doing for Valentine's Day. I hope you guys have a wonderful Valentine's Day, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!